What is it, Chief?
That noise in the impeller, sir. It started again. I think we should go down and check the main valve.
How you do, do you?
Well, that's where we think the blockage is.
We?
Mr. Van
Lutyens. I thought he'd get his face in. Come on. You lot, get back to work. I want to word with you, Van Lutyens.
Mr. Robson, there's something alive in the pipeline.
You're out of your mind. There's nothing down there.
I promise you, sir, I did hear something.
You've been upsetting my crews. Now, get out.
Listen.
Well, that's it.
Did you hear what I said?
Rostig, listen, will you? It's down there, in the darkness, waiting.
No, Jamie, don't touch it. But it's only a bit of seaweed.
Yes. Unless it really did move, like Victoria said.
Oh, how can it move? It's not a living thing, is it?
Everything in the sea is living, Jamie.
Well, it did move. It gave me a shock. It was like a spider.
Yes, well, we're not taking any chances. Hold that for me, will you?
What's this for?
You have to take a closer look at this weed. I'll bring the bag down here, right onto the floor. That's it. Now, don't let it touch your fingers. Careful. Slowly does it. Mind your fingers. There.
What are you going to do with it?
We're going to see if an ordinary piece of seaweed really can move.
Doctor, my wife, will she be all right?
Oh, yes, I think so, yes. I don't think there's any panic, but I'd get her under medical supervision if I were you.
Yes, I'll go back to the Medicare Centre at the compound and arrange for her to be taken in there.
Yes, you do that.
Poor man.
Aye. Hey! I thought we were supposed to be prisoners.
Yes. So did I. We better make the most of it. Got a lot of work to do back at the TARDIS. She seems to be sleeping peacefully. Come on.
What is it? That sound.
It's uncanny. It's like a heartbeat.
Stopped again.
Well, this is surely proof enough.
Proof?
There's something down there blocking the impeller.
Rubbish. Hysterical nonsense.
You heard it, that dreadful sound.
I heard a fault in the base of the impeller.
But the impeller isn't working. Don't you believe a thing until you see it?
I want that pump operational in half an hour. Now get to it.
What are you doing, Doctor?
Well, you see, Jamie, these two cylinders contain a small amount of natural gas. It should be quite interesting to see what sort of effect it has on the weed. How are you doing, Victoria?
I don't know. I think you ought to have a look.
Oh, yes. Well, that's got the natural iron content.
Well, I did the Bunsen test like you told me, but I found something which worries me.
Oh, yes, I'm not surprised. Is this hot?
No.
You see this rusty stuff here?
Yes.
Well, it means that the weed's giving out a gas, probably toxic.
Toxic?
Hey, Doctor, what are these little wriggly things in the weed?
Just a minute, Jamie. I'm looking at little wriggly things. Where?
Here, look in there.
Jamie, this is it. There's molecular movement. Come and see, Victoria. There. Why, that's amazing.
What does that mean?
It means, Jamie, that the weed is just as much alive as you and me.
Now, Mr. Harris, I've been trying to get hold of you. Mr. Robson won't listen to reason. I'm sorry, Van Lutyens. I've got something more important on my mind at the moment. Important? What is important? My wife is ill. Get out of my way, man. Price.
Yes, sir?
Is Dr. Patterson back?
No, we've heard nothing from D-Ring, sir.
Right, get onto the matron at the Medicare unit and tell her to send a couple of orderlies over to my quarters with a stretcher to bring my wife in. She's ill. Better get her the extension. Yes, sir.
What's the panic now, Harris?
Go on, get on with it.
Harris, I asked you a question.
My wife is ill. She needs medical attention.
What's the matter with her? She got a hangover?
She's very ill, Mr. Robson.
What's that, sir? The doctor fellow? Incidentally, where is he? And the two kids?
Oh, I left them in my quarters when I found my wife was ill.
You what?
Those 3 prisoners were in your charge, and you left them there.
I was worried about my wife. I didn't have time to think about
But that's
such
your
things.
trouble. You never do think, do you, Harris, when you should? Those 3 prisoners were in your charge.
I don't care. Don't you understand? My wife was lying on the floor when I got there. She was unconscious, and that smell of toxic gas was there. She's been poisoned, Robson, poisoned.
There is toxic gas. Where did it come from?
Oh, I don't know.
And none of us will know now you've let them loose.
How could they possibly have anything to do with it?
That still doesn't alter the fact you let those prisoners go without my authority.
Prisoners? A harmless old man, a couple of teenagers.
That harmless old man is probably a saboteur. It's probably him that's been tampering with that release valve on the shoreline, creating all those variations in pressure you got so excited about.
Oh, don't be so ridiculous, Robson. You're cutting at straws, stupidly blind to the real facts.
Don't shout at me, boy!
Mr. Robson, sir. Mr. Robson. The impeller, it's moving again.
Good man. I told you it was only a mechanical fault, didn't I?
Just started quite suddenly.
Keep it going, man.
I don't know if we can hold it.
Don't lose it now. You fools, you stupid fools!
Well, the fault's not this end. It must be jammed to the base.
You wanted this, didn't you? It's just what you wanted.
You should have listened to me, Robson.
What turned off the flow? Ruined a reputation of 30 years?
Reputation? Don't you realize that what is going on here is beyond your comprehension? That whatever it is that's in the pipeline that's jamming the impeller that's taken over the rigs is a menace and threat to us all?
The only menace and threat around here is you, Van Lutyens. And you, Harris. Listen. What are you staring at? I want that impeller working in half an hour. I'll be in my quarters. Let me know as soon as the impeller starts moving again.
Vardlos. It's cracking up, Harris. Look, I've got to get back to my wife. Harris, you can't go now. He's losing control. My wife's been poisoned. She's in good hands, yeah. She'll be brought into the Medicare unit. What can you do? But I ought to go and see her. Well, hang about and worry, that's all. Robson is cracking up. You are the only man with authority to take over. We need you here. Chief.
Sir?
Mr. Robson, you know him better than any of us. Do you think he's all right?
Well, he's under a lot of pressure. I think his nerves are a bit...
Yeah, pressure. Strain. He's cracking up, I tell you.
Well, you're not helping him, you know.
That's not my job. I am here to give technical advice which he ignores. All right, he knows a lot about engineering, but not all. And what he does not